is where you input your destination.
Wait a tick. Basil, if I travel back to 1969 and I was frozen in 1967, presumably I could go visit my frozen self. But if I'm still frozen in 1967, how could I have been unthawed in the 90s and traveled back to, oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
Level 857 Video Game Podcast.
Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown is a PS4 exclusive remake coming next week.
Wow.
What? Almost a shadow drop.
What? Wow.
So the trailer came out, what was it, yesterday?
Like a day or two ago.
A day or two, yeah.
PS4 exclusive?
It's a remake. Wow.
I think, listen, I think, relax over there, buddy.
Jeez.
I think that this was originally going to be planned for a big announcement at E3. I do. Because at first they did announce a Virtua Fighter. They gave you a hint.
There was something a while ago,
Yeah,
right?
they gave you a hint, and you knew that a Virtua Fighter was in the works. Sega was like, all right, here it is. They gave you like the sound effect or the stance or something. I was like, oh, we know it. That's
silhouette or some shit. I forget what it was.
But that was definitely a guarantee. Like, okay, they're working on something. But this leaked on like the download page on PS4, and it was like, oh shit, it's a whole title, and it was ready, and the price was there and everything, and it was like, oh, that must be coming to PlayStation. And then another leak happened, and they said that it was one of the games for free on June. So I don't know if it's going to be free, but the leak said this, and Virtua Fighter 5, blah, 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 as one of the PlayStation Plus games. So this is a PlayStation exclusive. It's a high possibility that it's part of their PlayStation Plus plan for, so everyone can have it without having to buy it. They already paid for it. Get it out there because, listen, they want to do the esports. Right. What's better for esports than a free game? It'll get everybody back into Virtua Fighter who hasn't played it in how long? How long has Virtua Fighter been gone?
This is 5 to 10.
I've been saying this about Sega's IPs for a hot minute. It's like, if you can't just come out with a new one. Streets of Rage is a different kind of animal, but like, you kind of have to test the waters to see if people still want it. And I think this is smart rather than being like, we have Virtua Fighter 6, because most people are going to be like, what the fuck's Virtua Fighter? You're like, I don't know what the fuck that game is.
What's Virtua Fighter?
Let's test out the waters and see if people actually give a damn about this anymore. Right. And
well,
then
the last Virtua Fighter
one.
5 was Final Showdown. Virtua Fighter 5.
How many years ago was that?
I think it was like 6, 7.
They're gonna be like, "Who's that Ryu knockoff?"
Yeah, exactly. Like,
but
does he throw fireballs?
But that one was free.
I thought that
one was free.
Was it
at the time? That one was a free download. It wasn't all the characters and everything, but it was a free download also. So they did venture in to see how many people wanted to play it, and I don't know how big it was, but cool thing about this one, because Sega and Virtua Fighter for that matter always had the same. It was all like every time they released it, it was like the same game almost. Right. Like I remember in part 3, they started like messing with like steps and stuff you could walk up while you're fighting.
Yeah, it wasn't really too much of a difference from
the gameplay.
It was pretty much the same.
They added some
it was just
new characters,
graphics, pretty much.
They added some new characters. They made the graphics a little better, but the engine and everything was the same.
Yeah.
Same thing with Tekken. All those games were pretty much the same.
It's
all the time.
the same formula.
But this
works.
one, they actually used a different engine, which I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Really? They used the engine from the shit we talked about last week, Yakuza. So they used the engine from that game, which originally I think Shenmue used the engine for Virtua Fighter for their fighting. And I thought that when Yakuza started, that they used the Virtua Fighter engine for their fighting also. So the fact that Virtua Fighter 5 is now using a new engine that was made for the game that used their engine is kind of weird.
I'm sorry,
but it's evolution. So, and they're doing the graphics over. So finally, I can maybe get a new breath of fresh air with this game when I try it. So I am looking forward to playing this guy.
I'm happy about it. Yeah. And I remember me and Turbo used to play Virtua Fighter 2 for the Saturn. Played 3 also.
He was okay.
Played 3 a little bit.
Yeah. Like
Dreamcast.
And we enjoyed it. Like I'm not into 3D fighters like that, but
this was the first one.
Yeah, this was pretty. Yeah. And the funny thing about it is like you look at Chuck was joking about it a second ago. You look at the main guy. It's like, oh, this is Ryu ripoff. This dude plays nothing remotely in the vicinity of a Ryu character.
Hell no.
Not even. I was like, oh, this guy doesn't really have moves.
He's 100% defensive.
It's counters, and I'm like,
counters.
yo, you could you could really get off on, you know.
I suck
As long
at
as
Virtua
you,
Fighter.
as long as you can read your opponent, like Akira is dangerous.
Not to sidetrack, but we're still talking about like Virtua Fighter. Yo, remember, Kev, that one time I guessed every move you were doing? You picked low. I said you're going low. Boom. But get out of here. Get out of here. Nope, you're doing the elbow in the middle. Get out of here, dude. It's perfect. Remember that shit?
It's definitely.
Nah, I remember,
That's why he's so quiet.
I remember playing Fighters Mega Mix against you, and I was
That's about
Tokyo or something.
I was Tokyo.
Yeah.
I was Tokyo, and you were Akira, and I think you countered like one of my powerful moves and hit me, and I flew like off the stage.
I took off all your armor and sent you through the gate.
Yeah,
shit was
looked
amazing.
Stupid.
I only played
a real
Fighter
bad
Mega
dumb.
Mix once.
A real Virtua Fighter player isn't a button masher. Like, this is a very strategic type of fighting game.
That's why I liked Akira. 'Cause I
It's
think
more
a-
realistic. It was more realistic than. Damn, with that. I'm sorry.
sorry.
It's like rock, paper, scissors.
What is that
it's-
sound?
It's more. It was always more realistic than like the flashy Tekkens and stuff like that, and Street Fighters and all that. It didn't have like big explosions you punch. I think they did started adding like special moves and stuff like that later on. So I don't know if it's actually in this one where they have like power moves that get all like crazy.
But you know what's cool if this does well, and let's just say they do a Virtua Fighter 6, you could still fuck with a Mega Mix. You could get away with that.
Yeah.
Like you could bring stuff like that back.
Well, they have been putting those characters into
Yeah.
other fighting games.
That's
Like SNK games. They put them into them, the 3D ones.
you could bring that shit back. You can.
These, like these Howard jumps in
I
every
suck
game.
at
That's
Virtua Fighter, man.
SNK,
What was that comment Lightsaber Samurai said?
Lightsaber said, "Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution is still my favorite though because I like my Vanessa Williams with extra chocolate." Yeah,
There you go. There you go.
my man.
I read
He
that. I
ain't
was
talking
like,
about you.
damn. Man, damn.
I thought I saw.
I appreciate any kind of appreciation for the chocolate. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
Big
hey,
chocolate.
I do it for the culture.
I appreciate the coach.
Listen, a Virtua Fighter. All right, Virtua Fighter collection
Trace
would be Virtua Fighter. It'd be Virtua Fighter looking better.
With upgrade graphics,
Yeah,
pretty much.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. That's the thing about that series. It's I like the series, but it's 1 through 3 just upgraded graphics with like
4
maybe
too, don't forget 4.
just slight differences. You know, like
I remember
always
4. I
sucks.
remember all of them except for 4.
I
know
always suck.
5.
we didn't fuck before. I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
I fuck with all of them, but I suck at every one of them.
It's not an easy. Listen,
Like,
they tried
I
to
could
make
never
it,
get into it.
They tried to make it easier to play.
Yeah.
That's what they've done with the newer games. They made it more accessible.
Dude, I played Chalk and Fighters Mega Mix, and I remember picking the Sega Rally car just
not a
because it
fighter.
was so ridiculous.
He didn't
I was
know-
like, I have to pick them. I
He
have
didn't
to
know
pick 'em
martial
'cause
arts.
it's so
man.
stupid.
He didn't know martial
You see the
arts.
wheels
And
popping
I
out
died.
like
You
this.
killed me fast, man. I was like, damn, man. But I
car
was like,
martial
this is funny. You're a car.
He didn't even hear.
You're a car.
He knew martial arts.
The car. Oh,
Oh my!
You gotta hear that one.
All right, so that's the end of this
yeah,
news
that's how you
segment.
end. That's how you end the news. right
What do
there.
you guys think about this whole Virtua Fighter 5 thing coming
It's
to
another
PS4?
Sega title. Another Sega title coming back.
I don't appreciate the fact that it's a PS4 exclusive, but I'm gonna have to check
Don't
it
worry
out.
about that.
Nah, don't
You
repeat
have a
that.
PS4, man.
Don't repeat that. Don't repeat that.
hilarious.
Yo, there's
Don't
more,
repeat that.
the more Sega titles I hear coming back, it's getting me very optimistic. So let's just keep that shit up, please.
Yeah,
Hopefully this one's better than 3 and 4. So we won't need to play it.
Yeah.
man. Bring the Sega Rally car.
Oh, Virtual Dreamcast wasn't an arcade. Wasn't a Virtual Fighter 3
I guess
perfect
not.
port? I guess not.
I guess not.
Wow.
I don't remember.
Well, let us know what you think.
Yeah.
And we'll be playing it next week.
That's disappointing if it wasn't.
We'll play you in it next week.
Yeah.
Actually, the week after. We got this.
We got it. We got
got
it.
it.
We travel. We travel.